Victory Formation conversations. Last week we had a phenomenal motivational speaker and life coach and sports psychologist, and this week we got a young man with an awesome project he's got going on, a nonprofit. It's called the Beautiful Lives Project, and he's also a consultant for the Baltimore Orioles for fans with disabilities, trying to give them the best experience when they come to the ball field. And it's just excited to have him on, talk to him about his organization and everything that's going on. Bryce Weiler, how you doing tonight, man?
Hi, Matthew. It's actually Weiler. Thank you for having me on.
Bryce Weiler, how's it going, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Glad to have you on. And for anybody listening, tell them a little bit about yourself and what you got going on with the Beautiful Lives Project. And if you want, you can start off with how you began. And I know you went to Western Illinois, and just give a little background on yourself.
I was born 4 months premature, and shortly after my birth, due to either too much light or too much oxygen, it caused the retinas in my eyes to detach, which caused me to be blind. Growing up, listening to sports on the radio was always very important to me. Listening to Brian Barnhart commentating Fighting Illini football and basketball, and Don Fisher commentating Indiana Hoosiers football and basketball. It was through those broadcasters that I became interested in sports. When I was in college at the University of Evansville, the former Evansville head men's basketball coach, Marty Simmons, gave me the opportunity to sit on his Evansville men's basketball bench and be able to experience college basketball, which changed my life. It gave me that opportunity to experience sports and to be around teams and coaches. He also gave me the opportunity to start speaking to groups and teams, which is something that I do quite often. And I really wanted to give back and help people of all disabilities to be able to live their dreams in life. So after I finished up graduate school at Western Illinois in 2016, which was a very tough experience for me because the staff didn't let me do much of anything because I didn't think I could since I can't see, I got the opportunity to become the co-founder of the Beautiful Lives Project with Anthony Icavone, where we give people of all disabilities the opportunity to experience programs in a range of categories throughout the country, those being sports, art, cheerleading, dance, ballet, and many other programs.
That's awesome, man. And how did you come up with the idea? Was it well, you said you were always into sports, you love listening to sports on the radio and everything. What made you come up with the idea?
I wanted to give back to give people who have disabilities the opportunity to live their dreams in life, just as how Coach Simmons gave me the opportunity to live my dream of being able to experience sitting on his Evansville basketball bench. I wanted to give people of all disabilities the opportunity to live their dreams in life in whatever that might be, whether it's sports or something else.
And let people what some of the people you worked with, some of the people you've been able to help out.
Now, I've not done many events on the football side, which is why I was interested to come on your podcast. I have done one program where people of all disabilities have been able to play on the field with Thomas Hammock, his Northern Illinois football team, and I can explain to you how we ran that type of a program. But I've been even people with disabilities have been able to play on the basketball court with the Texas Christian basketball team coached by Jamie Dixon, who I'm friends with. I've done the same type of a playing on the court program with Steve Donahue and his Pennsylvania Quakers basketball team. I've also done that with the Erie Bayhawks, Windy City Bulls. On the baseball side of things, I've done programs where people who have disabilities can play on the field with the Evansville Otters, New Britain Bees, Lancaster Barnstormers, Syracuse Chiefs. Now they're the Syracuse Mets and other teams as well. I've done programs where people who have disabilities can perform with cheerleading teams, such as the East Carolina cheer team and the Eastern Kentucky dance team. And really, I just wanted to come on your podcast, Matthew, to try and get more football coaches interested in doing these programs because I'm struggling to find football coaches at the high school, college, or professional level who would be interested in giving people with disabilities the opportunity to play on the field with their team.
And have you had many football players come to you with disabilities looking for opportunities?
Oh, so it's not football players per se. So How we would do a program is I would get 25 to 35 people who have disabilities. They could have never played sports before in their life. They could be adults, children, whatever age group, whatever disability. They don't have to have played sports. So, explaining to you how I would do a football field of dreams program, as we call them, I would get 25 to 35 people who have disabilities ready to come play on the field. Depending what their disability is, we might need to modify the activity. I would have a team of football players, their typical roster size of 50 to 60 or maybe 80 to 90 if it's a college team. And we'd set up stations on the field where people who have disabilities could learn how to catch the football, throw the football. Maybe they'll do some 40-yard dashes against some of the players and get timed, or just other fun activities like that. So I don't typically give, I guess, people the chance to be on a football team because most of the people who come to these events, they have disabilities that would keep them from playing football in such a competitive setting.
And was this something? What did you take in college? Did you take any type of sports management or something that got you into this?
So I studied sports management and sports broadcasting in college, but there aren't really any majors that you can study to learn how to do disability work. When I became the Baltimore Orioles disability consultant in June of 2016, I spent 3 months teaching myself how to accommodate different disabilities, how to make stadiums more accessible, how to hire people who have disabilities. Doing these events are actually the simplest thing that I can set up for people who have disabilities. The hardest part of it is actually finding teams and coaches who want to do these events. I have many people of all disabilities from across the country who would love to play on the field with football teams. I just can't get a football team in their area to want to do this type of a program.
I'm glad to put you out there, and hopefully we can find somebody maybe interested in doing something like that. And how did the Orioles opportunity come about?
I figured out the Baltimore Orioles email format and I emailed the Orioles president and explained to him how I wanted to help sports teams as a disability consultant. And he was gracious enough to give me that opportunity. He's really into social change and believes that everyone should have a voice in the world as a whole. And he's not your typical sports owner. He he does a lot of things that other owners don't tend to think he should do in baseball. But John is a great person, and he's really been someone who's supported me. John Angelos of Baltimore with the Orioles.
Well, that's a great thing, man, that you're doing there, and it's great that he gave you the opportunity to be able to do that. And what's some of the things? Well, let me turn this up a little bit. What's some of the things that you've done to consult the Orioles in helping them make it a better experience for people with disabilities, that their fans and whatnot?
I've helped the Orioles to ensure their home stadium of Camden Yards is accessible for people of all disabilities. I've also done the same thing with their spring training stadium, Ed Smith Stadium, out in Sarasota, Florida. When the Orioles became the first team in sports to wear Braille on their jerseys in 2018, I helped to accommodate 150 patrons who were visually impaired to ensure they had a great experience at Camden Yards. I put food menus into contracted and uncontracted Braille for that evening's game against the Toronto Blue Jays. I also helped to teach the ushers how to assist and accommodate people of all disabilities. And I also was there to ensure that the patrons had a great experience at that game. Furthermore, I've helped Baltimore to make social media posts more accessible for people with disabilities, and we're currently working to create posts that can target various disabilities and just try to make everything as inclusive. And it's important to include all disabilities because sports teams tend to focus on 4 or 5 disabilities when there's about 9 to 10 they should focus on. And I I try to focus on every single disability every time that I do something, or every time that I make a choice when I do something with Baltimore. I think about how that affects a wide range of various disabilities, say from people who have physical disabilities to those who have learning disabilities.
And do you feel that it's brought more fans with disabilities into the stadium?
It's definitely brought more individuals who have disabilities to Camden Yards and out to Ed Smith Stadium. The fans now are able to know that if they need something, they can reach out to me, and I'm able to assist them and to help them with whatever they might need or any issues or concerns that they might have had when they went to a game.
That's great, man. And is you feel like it's something that's maybe catching on in some other league or some other teams?
So I would say no. There have always been teams who do great disability programs, but there always is a percentage of teams who don't really want to do these programs or they just accommodate certain disabilities. It's only going to catch on if the commissioners of the leagues, I've personally friends with Rob Manfred of MLB and Adam Silver of basketball, NBA, if those commissioners set league-wide standards for what teams have to do, so it's equal across the board. Otherwise, you're going to have teams fluctuating between what they do for fans of all disabilities, and some teams will accommodate every disability, and some teams will pick certain disabilities. One of the more common themes has been learning disabilities recently, and they'll get lots of good press for that, but they'll leave out people who are blind, deaf, and those who are in wheelchairs and other groups such as that.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you next. What the disabilities you feel that the disabilities they're leaving out?
Well, I just those are the ones that I think are getting left out. Those who are blind, deaf, people in wheelchairs. Sports teams tend to get lots of good media coverage for what they've done for people who have learning disabilities with their sensory friendly areas and noise canceling headphones and things like that. But you can't just do well accommodating 4 or 5 disabilities. You have to do well accommodating 9, 10, 11 disabilities because it's not fair to those other people.
Yeah. And what's when you look at some of these different people that come to your organization and what's some areas is sports areas that you see that they're definitely on the level of a pro that they could definitely maybe make an organization or play for a professional team?
That would be hard to do for any of the people who come who have disabilities. I mean, maybe at the high school level, if their coach wants to give them a chance to really to be on their team, to maybe play in a few games or to be a student manager. But for so many of these people who have disabilities, they are adults, so they're not in school anymore. And most people who have disabilities, they don't have the skill level to play and
Yeah.
professional sports or even college sports. That's why giving them these opportunities to play on the court or the field with teams is so important and so valuable. And it also teaches to the players and the coaches how fortunate they are to be able to play whatever the sport it is.
And then what about younger guys trying to find colleges or whatever to play or maybe even coach at? Is that something you do, or is it always
That's not
adult?
something that I do, but I would say, I mean, there's always people who are trying to find that opportunity. Just reach out to as many people as you can, figure out email formats, contact people. That's how I got to do all my jobs. It's how I got the Orioles disability consulting job. That's how I got other companies who might be hiring me soon as a disability consultant. That's how I got in with the Beautiful Lives Project because I emailed my other co-founder, Anthony Icavone, and explained to him what I wanted to do. The more people that you reach out to, the more successful that you're going to be in life.
And do you feel that when you were in college doing all this, that you were maybe overlooked a little bit because of your disabilities? Is that a reason why you got into this?
I wouldn't say overlooked. I just wasn't given the opportunity when I was in graduate school at Western Illinois because people were scared of letting me do things because I can't see, or they were also scared of how I would just reach out to people and I wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the main reason why I wanted to get into this. I wanted to give back and help others to be able to live their dreams, just as Marty Simmons gave me the opportunity to live my dream with being able to sit on his Evansville basketball bench for 4 years and be around college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing, and especially people if they really love it and it's their passion, it shouldn't matter whether they have a disability or not. If they can do the job, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. You know, I mean, people get discriminated from all walks of life, but it shouldn't matter what their background is, or their disability in this sense. It should just be a matter of what their resume is, and how they work towards it. um so do you have any events coming up in the near future?
I don't have any coming up. The summer we don't typically have as many events because colleges are are out basically for the year. High schools are done, so we may have some events where people who have disabilities can play on the field with professional baseball teams throughout the country, independent league teams, or minor league teams for the next 2 months. Then at the middle to the end of August, we'll start getting things back with colleges where people who have disabilities can play on the field with soccer teams. Hopefully, we'll get some football teams wanting to do these types of programs. So these are the main 2 months where we do things with baseball teams at the professional level in the independent leagues or minor leagues, or if we get a team in the major leagues who wants to do an event.
Yeah, that's excellent. So basically, uh sorry about that. So what's next for you, man?
Well, I'm just going to set up more Beautiful Lives Project events. Hopefully, I'll get more teams to hire me as a disability consultant. I'm also working with companies as a disability consultant, and I'd love to have people check out our website, which is beautifullives.org. Beautifullives.org. We're always looking for more people to become chapter presidents to help the lives of people of all disabilities be as successful as possible and to help them to live their dreams. If anyone would like to donate, all of the funds raised goes to support our Beautiful Lives Project chapters throughout the country.
And are you able to go to a lot of Orioles games?
I go to Orioles games whenever they need me to come out to Baltimore. I haven't been to a game in 2019, but they're getting ready to open their fan capacity back up to 100% next week. So I'm sure we'll have some live events probably for people with disabilities soon at Camden Yards or in Baltimore, and I'll be back out there again working with the Orioles staff.
Well, that's excellent, man. And like I said, any way I could help you get this out there, I'll put it up on the site, um, link all your stuff up there, and let these people be able to find it. And hopefully, some football teams will, hear this and want to get involved with it as well. Um, so, you told them where they could find you on the social media. Um, Anything else you'd like to add?
My Twitter is at Bryce Weiler, at capital BRYCE, capital WEILER. I also give motivational speeches talking about my life and overcoming obstacles and challenges, whether that be to companies or sports teams, so I can easily work with a coach to find something that would fit his or her team style, or whatever the coach is trying to get the team to do. I've recently been giving speeches to minor league baseball teams. Actually, I just gave one to the Rome Braves last week, the high A team for the Atlanta Braves, and I have one or two minor league baseball team speeches coming up over Zoom, so I can do speeches virtually over Zoom, StreamYard, Teams, or I can do speeches live as well. So just reach out to me if you want a speech. I can send you some examples of speeches that I've given and give you some references of sports teams and companies that I've spoken to.
And how did you get into the motivational speech? Was there anybody you listened to coming up?
I don't. I've never really listened to anyone. Steve Prohm, who's the former head coach at Murray State, coached at Iowa State and just got let go a couple of months ago, gave me the opportunity to speak to his Murray State team in 2012, and I realized how that changed the lives of his players and coaches because the entire team came down and shook my hand after they beat Evansville the next day in 2012, and that really showed me that I can impact people's lives with my story and talking about the value of helping others. So I give so much credit to Coach Prom every day for giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's just terrific that you took your disability and used it to help other people in such a way. And that's basically what this podcast is all about, whether it's just players being overlooked, or people like yourself being overlooked, maybe, in the sports world, being able to get that opportunity, like you said, to live the dream, to be able to do these things in the sports world. Um, it's just a great thing. It's something that I always wanted to be able to do, and I'm just glad to be able to use my platform for that. And I'm just glad to be able to have you on, man. And if there's anything we could do to help you along, you have any events out this way in the Northeast, be glad to come out. And maybe we could do a live podcast from one of the events or something, and interview some of these people, and make it a little more, whatever. Just give it a little more hype or whatever.
Yeah. A live podcast would actually be a lot of fun. I've had news stories done at events, but I've never had a podcast done live from an event. So you're gonna have to tell me where you are so I can get something set up, or you can get your local high school or colleges near you or whatever to want to do this. And a live podcast would be a first in the history of Beautiful Lives Project at an event.
That would be awesome. I got all the stuff for it. I got the PA, the whole 9 yards. So, because I was ready to go out last year for a couple events, and it got canceled because of COVID, unfortunately. But, hey, I got all the stuff now, so it's ready to go. And I'm in the Northeast area, basically on the border of PA, New Jersey, and New York. I don't know if you're familiar with that area. Basically,
Yeah,
if
I've
you're
heard of that.
familiar with the Delaware River. It's like right in that area where
Yeah,
all the states connect with each other, and it's actually a good
yeah,
area because we reach all 3 states here. So, if we're doing an event like that, we can pull from all, and as well as
yeah.
Connecticut, and even Massachusetts isn't that far away, a couple hours away.
Yeah,
So
I was out in Connecticut doing programs where people with disabilities were able to play on the field with the New Britain Bees for 3 summers whenever Anthony